Hey everyone, and welcome back to News Science, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. And here with an entirely different video. And what I'm about to get into is very touchy stuff, and it may affect some of you viewers out there. I don't know which way you roll as far as sexuality, religion, culture, whatever it is. Everybody who watches this channel is absolutely welcome 100%. But what I'm going to be talking about is something that's quite sensitive, honestly, and that's affecting pretty much all gamers of different ages, sizes, backgrounds, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just inevitable, and it's affected, a company, a developer that I honestly think highly of, and that's Insomniac Games. And this is actually an article coming from DualShockers.com. And we're going to go ahead and get into it. It talks about the LGBT content in our video games and how we've been seeing a lot of it lately. It's gotten to the point where it's become completely overwhelming. And honestly, I'm kind of tired of it. And I'm not saying because I'm tired of it because I don't care about the LGBTQ or whatever. I'm saying this because I feel like it's just being blown in our faces. These companies are essentially white knighting for it. Honestly, where was all this white knighting and this massive support from these companies, let's say about a little over a decade ago, when games were just games and they were made to entertain? The way I feel and the way I see it is that in our reality, our own individual lives, we have our own narratives. And sometimes we want to play a game to live in someone else's narrative temporarily, whether it be a couple hours or so, just to escape everything from the real world. And that message is simple. Don't put politics or social issues into our games, into our forms of entertainment. Don't do that. You're going to create a massive divide, and that divide is apparent now. Nobody wants this. Gone are the days where games are just simply entertainment. Gaming has become like this platform for political ideology and propaganda, and I can't stand it anymore. So we're gonna go ahead and read this article here. And it talks about how the Insomniac narrative director discusses the lack of LGBT content in video games. Honestly, these game developing studios, they're gonna meet their end by hiring activists and weirdos and freaks like this, because it only makes their games worse. I mean, look what happened in Marvel Spider-Man 2. There were literally dozens of LGBTQ, social justice, DEI moments in that game that it was just like, I'm like, all this stuff was completely absent in the first Marvel Spider-Man game, which to me, in my opinion, is now still the superior game. Isn't it funny how when people start to open their mouths and talk about how we need more LGBTQ stuff in it, all these game developing studios start to bend the knee and just say, yes, we're going to do that. Let's go ahead and do it. Just to earn a few brownie points. I'm telling you right now, companies, and this doesn't only apply to game developing studios, to any studios or to any massive company, corporate or out there, never mix politics with your company, with your business, because at the end of the day, you have a business to do, and that's it. It's just a business. You're in a business for the bottom line, and that bottom line is to make money, not to appease a crowd, not to appease a certain demographic. None of that shit. I'm sick of this shit, honestly. No filter. I'm sorry, but no, we don't need this shit. We really don't. So it says here, it can be easy to feel shunned when it comes to queer representation within gaming. I will never understand what that feels like, and I'm sorry that some of you no doubt have felt that way. I'm sorry, but it doesn't mean that you need to put it in gaming, because honestly, to you guys, it's not going to be enough. And sorry about that sound. Somebody came on Steam. It's not going to be enough. Like, this is not the cure or the resolution you're looking for. Just because you put queer representation in your games doesn't mean that it ended it all. It may please you temporarily, and that's it. But this victimization, this feeling like bad for yourselves because you feel like you're shunned, is getting out of hand. It really is. Continuing, not only do LGBTQ people put up with endless derogatory, homophobic, and transphobic comments littered around every grimy corner of social media wherever a queer character crops up in a game, but a recent report showcases just how little this group is represented in the medium. Honestly, I think the words homophobic, transphobic, and everything has lost its meaning, and I think people don't really know what the word phobia means. If I go right now on Webster's dictionary, or if I just Google the definition of Phobia. Right now, the definition of phobia means an extreme or irrational fear of aversion or to something. Last I recall, being homophobic means that you have an irrational fear of homosexuals. I hate to tell you this, and I hate to break it to you, but I am not scared of homosexuals, and neither am I scared of trans people. Honestly, the misuse of the word could not be more apparent. Things have changed significantly. The tides have turned, and developers are including fleshed out and interesting queer characters in their games. No, they're not interesting in the slightest. The way they've been represented, and especially in Marvel Spider-Man 2, where you have a mission to help a homosexual student ask another homosexual student to a prom date, like, those students were talking in ways that actual queer people do not talk. Like, I can tell you that right now. I've met tons of homosexuals. I've had gay friends before. They don't talk like the way they do in these games.
Thank you a million. Oh, maybe you should call yourself the Great Electric Spider.
Thanks. I like Spider-Man just fine.
Oh, just got a text. He's on his way. Don't go just yet. I could still use your help. Just hide.
I'm telling you that right now. It's a load of shit. Still, it hasn't been enough. According to GLAAD's recent study, more players than ever identify as gay, bisexual, queer, and transgender, and yet only 2% of games on major consoles and PCs include queer characters. Okay, whatever. I'm about to say something that a lot of people might disagree with, and something that's like, I guess you can say bold. I just don't see it as something to be proud of or to be brave about when you come out as homosexual or gay or whatever, bisexual, whatever. I really don't. I don't think it's a brave thing. If you're gay, good for you. Be gay. If you're lesbian, good for you. Be a lesbian. If you want to be a woman, good for you. Go be a woman. It's fine. Whatever. If you want to be trans, whatever. It's fine. Is it difficult? Probably is. I can understand probably why it would be difficult to come out as that way, but it's really not that big of a deal. If you want to announce it to the world, go ahead. Everybody else will just move on with their lives. I'm so sick of this whole like, oh, you're so special because you came out to be this way. Mary Kenny, an associate narrative director at Insomniac Games, opened up to me about her opinion on the heartbreaking state of LGBTQ representation amid GLAAD report. Kenny, who started her career as a journalist, has written some of the industry's popular video games, from Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Batman: The Enemy Within to The Walking Dead: The Final Season, and the upcoming Marvel's Wolverine. Kenny has helped construct some of the gaming's most diverse characters, like Clementine and Violet from Telltale's The Walking Dead, but freely admits that more needs to be done in gaming development to make LGBTQ people feel like they are an important part of the game structure, and this also is the future. There will be no pleasing to people like this in the LGBTQ crowd, because let's say they do input like their politics, their ideologies, their social justice stuff in these games, right? Let's say they do it in one of these games, right? There's just no pleasing them. There's no end to this. They have their own agenda, and they're gonna keep doing it and keep doing it, and they're gonna keep victimizing themselves like this and making statements just like this, so that way they can have an opportunity to implement more of their LGBTQ standards and their narratives into these games. And they're only gonna keep doing it, and they're gonna keep doing it, and people are getting fed up with it. And I'm honestly, we're all tired of this. We don't want this in our games anymore. I'm sick and tired of this crap. Honestly, I really don't want this in our games anymore. Thankfully, there hasn't been a shortage of LGBTQ developers over the years. We have seen incredible talents from coming to the minds of people like Maddie Thorson, who created transgender characters, Madeline, the game Celeste, Catherine Montaga, transgender programmer and founder, X-Men Reign of Apocalypse, as well as Spider-Man 2, and also D.E. Chaudrin and Larian Studios, a queer and non-binary video game developer who worked with Baldur's Gate 3, to name only... You can call yourself whatever you want. You can claim to be whoever you want. You can create an alias for yourself, but you will never be what you are, what you claim to be. I'm a man. If I came out one day and I said, hey, you know what? I want to be transgender and I will identify as a woman. Guess what? I will never be a woman, and I will never know what it's like to be a woman, because biologically, down to my chromosomes, I am a man, a human adult male. There's no such thing as non-binary. This whole gender fluid, non-binary crap, being a cat, a unicorn, a horse, a mouse, whatever it is that you want to identify as, it's not real. It's delusion. It is. And you can disagree with me if all you want, and I don't give a shit. You can hate me, you can unsubscribe if you want. I really don't care. Honestly, I really don't. You can even attempt to cancel me, if that's even possible. This is absurd. We don't need all these politics and these delusional ideologies and stuff like that in their games, because it's just making it worse. And me and a bunch of other content creators who feel the same way will tell you the same thing. It's ruining the gaming industry. It's ruining the entertainment industry as a whole. Movies, games, Look at Disney. All of their movies have been bombing. All of them. Every single one of them. Because of stuff like this. And you know what? They're aware that their movies are bombing, and they keep doing it. It's going to be the same thing for game developing studios like this. And I fear for Insomniac Games. I really do. Sweet Baby Inc. is a part of this. And if you don't know who they are, look them up. Because games like Marvel Spider-Man 2, the new God of War game, and so on are in their webpage of like them being involved in those games, writing things like this into these games. And one more thing to close this video out. Being gay, transgender, black, Hispanic, or following a certain religion doesn't inherently qualify someone for a job in an industry. Talents and qualifications should be the primary criteria for an employment. It can be very frustrating when individuals believe they deserve recognition solely based on their identity or social justice advocacy. In my view, hiring should focus on skills and experience rather than aligning with specific ideologies. Companies should be very cautious about becoming entangled in social justice or politics, as it can really lead to division and potentially harm the organization's success. And that's all I'm going to say. Anyway, you let me know your thoughts. I know this is a serious topic. Whether you agree with me or not, or disagree, that's okay. You can like, comment, subscribe, and share this video if you want. You can dislike the video if you did. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching anyway and tuning in. And I'll see you all in the next comic panel.